Hello everyone and welcome to Backseat Break. Today we're going to be looking at the history of space exploration. We're going to look at how we got started, what milestones we had to cross to get here, and we're also going to look at the role that private enterprise like SpaceX, Blue Origin and Virgin Galactic will play in the future of space exploration.
Historically and mythologically, space has always been an important part of the human experience. Stars and planets became synonymous with gods, and we've always romanticized the cosmos. But space exploration is complicated. It requires a lot of resources, time, energy, money. And you might ask the question, why spend so much money on space when there are so many real world problems that need to be addressed? Hunger, climate change, war. The answer to that question is that while lots of money is spent on space exploration initiatives, it is a spend that gives back tenfold. In our attempts to navigate the cosmos, the best minds of Earth have been hard at developing crucial technology that allows us to survive and even thrive in space. Those technologies can and usually are applied here as well in a variety of fields. If you take a look at NASA's list of patents, you will find that they have made breakthroughs in not just rocket fuel, but also in robotics, automobile engineering, food, renewable energy, and many other different technological disciplines. Space exploration is an important part of our future. It helps us unlock a virtually unlimited expanse of free real estate and allows us to experiment with new tech in zero gravity. It is also the source of the richest data we have with regard to climate change and the increasingly disruptive weather conditions here on Earth. As satellites and space-based technology evolve, access to communications technology can become more widespread, with satellite internet being made available in more remote areas that were inaccessible before. While we always dreamed about the idea of getting to space, our first glimpse of the technology that would make it possible surfaced in 1926, when the first liquid fuel rocket was test fired in the USA by Robert H. Goddard. Until then, any depictions of us traveling in space were always circular UFO type objects and never really a rocket. It wasn't until 1944 that we were able to send the first man-made object to space. In 1946, we got the first ever pictures of Earth taken from outer space around the edge of the carbon line. In 1957, which was a big year for space exploration, Russia launched the first artificial satellite Sputnik 1, which orbited the Earth successfully. And later on in that same year, they sent out the Sputnik 2, which carried the first living being that was able to reach space, Laika the dog. In 1958, the USA joined the party with the successful launch of the Explorer 1, its first satellite to orbit the Earth. And in 1959, NASA was able to take the first photograph of the Earth, revealing that we looked like a little blue ball out there in space. Now, the matter of space exploration was becoming an issue of prestige, particularly between the two big powers at the time, the USA and the USSR. And in 1961, Russia managed to take a big lead on the USA by sending out Yuri Gagarin, the first man in space. The Russian mission was a huge success, and the USA quickly followed with Alan Shepard, who became the first American in space. The next development was another Russian win, with Valentina Tereshkova reaching space in 1963 to become the first woman in space. In 1965, Alexei Leonov of Russia conducted the first ever spacewalk. In 1965, NASA managed to procure the first ever images of Mars with the Mariner 5. At long last, the Americans were able to take the lead in the space race. In 1969, the Apollo 11 mission succeeded in putting boots on the moon. Neil Armstrong became the first ever human to walk on the moon, and it was an amazing victory for the Americans over the Soviets. The space race between the US and the USSR fueled a series of technological advancements that encouraged a surge of global participation, with many countries launching their own space programs. In 1975, 3 American astronauts and 2 Russian cosmonauts going to outer space together. Since then, there's been less competition and more of a collaborative effort to understand humanity's place in the stars. As of January 2024, over 8,000 satellites are orbiting the Earth, providing critical services and information to us. As great as this is, it can be argued that the competitive edge that drove the space race during the Cold War era has been lost. Private enterprise brings in something much more important to the table: funding. With the billionaires of the world investing in space exploration, it allows us to make further advancements without putting extra pressure on government budgets and insulating space programs that often get gutted by bureaucratic red tape. Billionaires like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Richard Branson have begun investing their fortunes in a bid to commercialize our constantly improving space technologies. Let's take the example of NASA, a top-tier organization with the resources and know-how to execute incredibly complex projects. However, it is a government agency, and NASA NASA's priorities aren't always based on the optimal scientific route, since the objectives of the agency are often defined by political entities. That's why private enterprise is important. Privatization has been at the heart of some of the biggest commercial advancements in the world, whether it was cars, computers, or commercial airplanes. Privatization helped make a once elite commodity more available to the world. Of course, the space sector isn't going to be completely private. The government will always have an important role to play with regulation and technology support without risking the integrity of Earth's orbit. This renewed competitive spirit between SpaceX, Blue Origin, Virgin Galactic, and a myriad of other private players could soon make commercial space travel a reality. As humanity struggles to live sustainably on Earth, these private enterprises are looking to make the move to colonize Mars and even further. In our effort to get there, we still need to develop more advanced technology, and with the improved capacity to operate in space, it might even become possible to set up manufacturing facilities in orbit. This allows us to send more focused payloads with materials that can be processed and assembled in these manufacturing facilities. The added bonus of zero gravity and consistent temperatures that are not weather related also make many manufacturing processes a lot easier than they are here on Earth. There is also potential for mining asteroids and exploiting resources available in outer space that is being explored. There are companies like Carbon Plus, TransAstra, Astroforge, Origin Space, and the Asteroid Mining Corporation that have been working on this. If we can establish independent resources in space, then the capacity for refueling, repairs, and new builds allows us to bypass the large fuel expenditures it takes to send materials from Earth to outer space. Falling launch costs open doors for even more organizations to enter the space tech market, which brings about a new problem. How will activities in space be governed? We're not far from the day when space diplomacy is going to be a critical phenomenon, and it requires us to think less like nationals of a country and more like citizens of the Earth, something the human race has historically had a lot of problems with. Once space becomes an area of commercial operation, geopolitical ties here on Earth will become strained, and there will be a need for governance and cooperation unlike anything we have seen before. Or will risk being thrown back into a new version of the colonial era where every nation is looking to capture territory and establish supremacy before the other one gets there. Let's talk about some of the companies that are revolutionizing the way space exploration is done. Elon Musk's SpaceX has been one of the most talked about projects in the world for quite a long time. The ingenuity behind the Falcon Heavy allows it to carry the second largest payload for any currently operational space launch vehicle, only behind NASA's Space Launch System, the SLS. Though the rockets were designed to be able to transport humans at first, SpaceX has decided against it and will wait until its Starship system is operational. In 2018, instead of sending humans into space, SpaceX sent Elon Musk's personal Tesla Roadster with a mannequin named Starman instead. While it was extremely meme-worthy and hilarious, the achievement marked an important milestone in space technology. After 3 successful launch and retrieval missions, the Falcon Heavy was certified by the National Security Space Launch Program. Let's also take a minute to talk about Starship and some of the other interesting developments by SpaceX. SpaceX envisions Starship as a key component of its ambitious plans for lunar and Martian exploration. SpaceX's Starship is the world's most powerful launch vehicle ever developed, capable of carrying up to 150 metric tons fully reusable and 250 metric tons expendable material. Starship is intended to be a multi-purpose spacecraft capable of performing a wide range of missions, including satellite deployment, crewed missions to space stations like the International Space Station, interplanetary travel to Mars, and potentially beyond it. One of the defining features of Starship is its full reusability, significantly reducing the cost of access to space. The Starlink project by SpaceX is another revolutionary idea that aims at providing global satellite internet coverage to the world. Their vision is to create a constellation of small satellites orbiting the Earth, beaming high-speed internet to even the most remote corners of the planet. While Starlink faces challenges from weather systems, it has the potential to revolutionize connectivity worldwide, enabling new applications and services while reshaping the future of communication and socio-economic development by making the internet accessible in places where conventional cabling methods have failed. Virgin Galactic is a spaceflight company founded by Richard Branson in 2004 with the aim of making commercial space tourism a reality. Unlike traditional rocket launches, Virgin Galactic's approach involves using a space plane called the Spaceship Two to carry passengers on suborbital flights to the edge of space and back. So essentially, if you have lots of cash lying around, you can indulge yourself, go to space for a while, experience zero gravity, and come back to Earth. In February 2022, Virgin Galactic announced that it was opening ticket sales to the public. The price of a reservation is a paltry $450,000. Spaceship Two is designed to achieve a suborbital journey with a short period of weightlessness. Virgin Galactic Spaceship Two does not use traditional rocket boosters like those found in orbital rocket launches. Instead, it uses a hybrid rocket motor for its powered ascent. The space plane will be carried to a high altitude by a separate carrier aircraft called White Knight 2. And after separation, the spacecraft travels over the Kármán line, 100 kilometers above the sea level, which is the commonly accepted definition of where space begins. The suborbital flight itself would be only a small fraction of that time, with weightlessness lasting approximately 6 minutes. Passengers will be able to release themselves from their seats during these 6 minutes and float around the cabin before re-entering Earth's atmosphere and gliding back to the landing site. Humanity has always been curious, whether it is the deep Earth, the deep seas, or deep space, always wanting to take one step further in their exploration. And it is a part of who we are as a species. The idea that one day we could live on Mars and spread out through the galaxy is not only a fantasy, but something that could become an absolute necessity as our planet's habitability slowly but surely deteriorates. But take heart. In less than 100 years of active efforts to explore space, we have come so far. Space becomes more accessible to us every year, and even though 100 years is a long time, it is a small fraction in the long history of humanity. I, for one, am excited about the future of space exploration, and if you like this video, please subscribe to our channel so we can tell you about many more of the awesome things humanity is working on.